Welcome to another episode of Field Engineering. I'm your host, JD Brake, and we are absolutely pleased as punch. I never understood that phrase, pleased as punch, to have Phil Kimball on today. And Phil, real quick, there was a segment that we did on zoning training, kind of like the misconceptions of zoning, almost like a Mythbusters thing, where we talked about, all the applications where zoning is a good fit and where zoning may not be the best option. So, real quick, just kind of an overview. What is the best application for zoning in a home? Can all homes be zoned?
Some homes are more difficult than others with regards to zone control. I'll give you a typical example. Let's say you have a home that is wide open.
Yeah.
In other words, it's got 16-foot vaulted ceilings. The architecture is absolutely stunning.
Mm-hmm.
But there are no individual rooms. It's just one great
Big
area.
like ranch home or something with big
Right.
vaulted
Well,
ceilings.
like in New York City, these lofts where they take a warehouse and they make these beautiful multi-million dollar lofts. But it's all just one big area.
Yeah, studio. They got some studios like that here in Indianapolis.
Exactly. Well, it's a little difficult to zone because you can't push the conditioned air you want into the proper spot, and you just can't take a bunch of thermostats and go stick them around on all the walls. That doesn't work. So there are some applications where zoning really doesn't apply itself. But most homes, most traditional homes today, yes, they can be zoned, providing you can access the ductwork.
Right.
And if you can do that, we've got just about all the products necessary to create a good zoned application. Today, especially with Wi-Fi thermostats, wireless thermostats, it eliminates a lot of the having to pull extra wire through walls, and I got to get a thermostat upstairs, got to get a thermostat here,
Right.
and technology has really improved so much that the installer's job is a lot easier today. But it is important. All zone jobs you have to have a controlled space.
Right.
And that means, a master bedroom, a family room, maybe an entertainment, area or something like that. But it needs to be enclosed. And the reason is because we talked about this a lot. You have a large home today, and the architecture has changed. You got this beautiful open staircase going from upstairs, downstairs, even sometimes like on a split going right down into a basement. Well, cold air falls and hot air rises.
Always.
So unless you can kind of enclose those zones with doors, return air grills, things like that, it's going to be more difficult to maintain good temperature control in individual areas. But typically, a master bedroom, family area, something like that, you've got doors, closures that you can close those areas off. Thus, you get tighter temperature control. If you can't, you'll still be able to achieve some success, but it won't be as precise as if you have enclosed zones. That's why we call them zones. They're their own individual little conditioned area. Residentially, today, zoning is big, as we know.
Yeah.
Zone control is big. It saves a lot of cost. You achieve the same end result, whether it's a two-story home and you're dealing with that, 6 to 10 degrees difference between upstairs and downstairs, or you've got a basement that you constantly can't live in because you're freezing all the time in the summer because the AC's running full blast.
Right.
Zone control is a good solution, and you can create comfort around the entire home. In light commercial applications, zone control is very, very useful, especially on perimeter zones where you may have large glass exposures and you got individual offices, and the guy down at this end is too hot and the other person's too cold. But you also have to look at the entire load characteristics of like a commercial application. If you have a big bullpen area, Well, you need to zone that with equipment because you can't zone it. It's
Yeah.
just big open. But if you got perimeter zones and that has a piece of equipment serving that, then you could zone those and be very effective with it.
Okay.
I've seen commercial jobs where literally hundreds of offices are all zoned, and they work great. So, zone control has a place, and there isn't a place for it. The worst application I see is you have an equipment room. Equipment rooms, typically server rooms. You got to have constant cooling, 365 a year. You're going to blow up your server. And what do? They zone it with conventional office spaces. Well, that thermostat's constantly calling for cooling. So the zoning systems are intelligent today. So we go after the cooling call. When we finally get the cooling temperature down to where it needs to be in the server room, it's satisfied. Now we go after heating calls and everything. We lose everything we had in the server room as soon as we get a heating call, and it's back and forth and nothing works. So stay away from server rooms, equipment rooms, anything that has a constant cooling requirement. We don't want that. Because as the load changes inside of a space or in a building, we've got to be able to match that with the equipment application. We need heat, we need cooling. But if you got something that's saying, I need cooling 100%, not a good thing to zone. And you stay away from that. That's pretty easy to do. Put a mini split, do something in that server room, let it have all the cooling at once, but keep it away from the conventional zoned areas.
Now I've got two questions for you. These were kind of covered in our training. One, what's like the perfect amount of zones in your opinion to have in a home? Because you don't want to have too many, obviously, but you don't want to underdo the zones for the space. Now I get that it depends on the size of the home.
Sure.
But in a typical application, what's like the sweet spot?
2 to 3.
2 to 3. Because what happens when you start adding more and more zones?
Well, how do you utilize your home? I mean, how do you live in your home?
Right.
And it's usually the occupied areas at home when during the day and the sleeping areas during the night. And I mean, people want that. They want to have that comfort level both night and day.
Right.
Or they want to save energy by using programmable thermostats and saying, I'm not using the bedrooms and during the day. Let's set the thermostat up or set it down. You can do that, and that represents energy savings. But 3 to 4 would be max typically.
Yeah.
Now, if you get into large custom home applications, you could have 6, 12 zones.
Right. I just know technicians get asked a lot of questions where, people are out there like, well, can I put a thermostat in each bedroom?
You could.
You could have say you have 3 bedrooms in a row, like a guest, kids. I mean, is that, and then you also have the master bedroom and the downstairs and the basement. At that point, I mean, is that overkill or is that still going to be a sufficient way to zone?
If it's affordable, it's doable. That's all.
I like that. If it's affordable, it's doable.
Because I would probably do that. If I had 15 bedrooms, I'd probably have a thermostat in every one of them.
Ooh, if you had 15 bedrooms, I bet you'd be on a beach somewhere.
Well, that's what I hope for.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Phil, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on, kind of clearing the air on some typical zoning applications. And again, if you ever have questions, if you need us to direct you in the right direction as far as how to set up a zoning application, you can always request a training through Jackson Systems, or you can call us at 888-652-9663. You're always going to get somebody like Phil. We'd be more than happy to help you.
And we have support information that we can furnish to any contractor looking at a specific zoning application. I mean, just the good rules of thumb on how to properly zone a home or a light commercial building. Just the important things to do.
Right.
And we do that all the time. We work with design build contractors, and they say, "Hey, well, I've got an application for a zone control system, but I'm not sure what I need." So we look at the prints. Now we don't do plans or anything like that. We don't do the low calcs, but we can provide enough information to give you confidence and get the job done.
Exactly. Awesome. Phil, I appreciate it as always. Thanks for coming on. Field Engineering. I'm your host, JD Brake. See you next time. Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to smack that like button below. And if you want notifications on brand new videos that are coming out tailored just for you, be sure to subscribe right here to the Jackson Systems YouTube channel. Now, if there's some videos you missed, you can always check it out right here. Go ahead and click subscribe. Other videos, like, do it.